You think you are completely in control of your life. You see yourself as the ultimate pinnacle of evolution on this planet. We built massive, sprawling concrete cities, split the atom, mapped the human genome, created the internet, and set up cozy, climate-controlled, safe apartments. And right now, at this very second, you are probably sitting on your comfortable couch, scrolling through your phone, while a cute, fluffy little ball of fur is nestled comfortably on your chest. It vibrates, it purrs softly, and you feel a deep sense of peace, believing that you've achieved absolute beautiful harmony with nature. But what if, at this exact moment, the creature resting on your chest hasn't changed a single biological bit over the last 10,000 years? While you are melting over those tiny, soft pink paws and booping that wet nose, evolutionary biologists are sounding a serious existential alarm. Unlike dogs, horses, sheep, or cows, cats were never actually domesticated by humans. Not at all. The creature you call cute little Fluffy or Mr. Purr-a-Lot is not a traditional pet. Living in your apartment, sleeping right on your clean bedroom blanket is a perfectly preserved, evolutionarily complete apex killer from the Ice Age. And the most terrifying yet fascinating part of it all? It has its own very specific cold-blooded plans for you. To truly understand the depth of this bizarre situation, we need to compare them to our other favorite companions, dogs. A long, long time ago, early humans met wolves. They started working together, hunting in packs. And over thousands of years of strict artificial selection, humans literally cracked open and rewrote this predator's DNA to suit our daily needs. We became genetic sculptors. We bred hundreds of distinct shapes, sizes, and psychological profiles. The majestic, fierce gray wolf was systematically transformed into pugs, chihuahuas, corgis, bulldogs, and golden retrievers. Dogs completely changed their skull shapes. They lost the ability to hunt effectively on their own. They learned how to look us directly in the eyes to communicate, and they adapted their brains to read our subtle facial emotions. They became a biological mirror of humanity, entirely dependent on our approval. Now, let's look at cats. Take the DNA of your domestic house cat. It doesn't matter if it's an expensive, hairless Sphinx, a fancy Scottish fold, or a completely random, chaotic stray cat you rescued from behind a dumpster. Compare that DNA with the genetic code of the wild African wildcat, Felis libica, which roamed the scorching, brutal sands of the Middle East and ancient Egypt while the pyramids were being constructed. Do you know what the genetic difference is? Absolutely nothing. They match by almost 100%. The skeletal structure is identical. The brain size, relative to the body, is identical. The digestive system is identical. If you try to train a wolf over generations, you get a loyal, goofy dog. If you try to train a wild desert cat, well, good luck with that. It will most likely just stare at you with absolute contempt, swat you across the face with its claws, and walk away into the sunset. Cats never change their anatomy, their hunting habits, or their independent character for humans. Do you know why? Because from an evolutionary standpoint, they were already flawless. Why fix a machine that isn't broken? Why alter a biological weapon engineered seamlessly for the perfect solo hunt? Humans didn't domesticate the cat. Humans simply signed an involuntary, silent non-aggression pact with a tiny tiger. So how did this massive historical scam actually happen? Let's roll back the evolutionary clock about 10 to 12,000 years ago to the Fertile Crescent. Humanity is achieving its greatest breakthrough yet, the agricultural revolution. People stop running around chasing mammoths. They settle down, start planting grain, and build the world's very first giant granaries and storehouses. But immediately, early human society hits a total catastrophic crisis. Where there is a massive accumulation of grain, thousands upon thousands of mice, rats, and locusts appear out of nowhere. These rodents destroyed vital winter food supplies, spread deadly plagues, and literally threatened the survival of early human civilizations. Humans were completely, utterly powerless against this tiny, crawling army, and that is precisely when they stepped out from the shadows of the wild moonlit desert. Wild cats. Humans did not actively hunt cats down with nets. They didn't isolate them in cages. They didn't tame their kittens, and they didn't feed them scraps by the campfire like they did with wolves. The cat came entirely on its own terms. It looked at the human granaries, saw the swarms of mice, and realized something brilliant. These strange, hairless, two-legged creatures had accidentally created the ultimate, endless, concentrated hunting zone. For a cat, early human civilization wasn't a place to be served. It was an all-you-can-eat rodent buffet of biblical proportions. Fast forward a few thousand years to ancient Egypt, and this unspoken alliance reached its absolute fanatical peak. The Egyptians watched these graceful, silent, nocturnal predators effortlessly eliminate their main economic and health enemies, and they completely lost their minds with admiration. Cats were declared living vessels of the gods, specifically the goddess Bastet. They were elevated to total divine status. Killing a cat, even purely by accident, carried an immediate, unpardonable death penalty. When a household cat died of natural causes, the entire human family went into deep, public mourning, shaving off their own eyebrows as a sign of grief. The cat's body wasn't just buried, it was carefully mummified with expensive oils, wrapped in fine linen, and buried in sacred tombs with royal honors alongside jars of milk and mummified mice for the afterlife. But do you honestly think the cats cared about Egyptian theology? They couldn't care less about being deities. They just highly enjoyed the free security, the best spots by the palace fires, and the fact that nobody dared to mess with them. They successfully domesticated humans long before humans ever even thought about domesticating them. Millennia have passed since the fall of pharaohs, but that wild, untamed wilderness has never actually left your modern apartment. All of your cat's cute, funny, and quirky daily habits are actually the pure, unadulterated, lethal instincts of a ruthless desert predator. Take, for example, the famous zoomies, or tigy dick, at 3 o'clock in the morning. We all know the drill. You are fast asleep, enjoying a peaceful dream. And suddenly a furry missile tears through the darkness at Mach speed, knocking over water glasses, tearing down curtains, and launching itself off your stomach. This isn't random madness, malice, or stupidity. Cats are crepuscular predators, meaning their natural peak hunting hours are dawn and dusk. In the wild, it is during these exact twilight and dark hours that their predatory brains explode with neurological activity and adrenaline. At that exact moment, the cat's internal biological computer demands that it immediately sprint, chase, pounce, and snap the spine of an imaginary desert jerboa or lizard. The fact that your expensive living room carpet and your sleeping face stand in for the African desert is entirely your problem. Or let's look at the science of purring. You think your cat purrs exclusively because it loves you and feels happy? Not entirely. Sound engineers and wildlife biologists have discovered that cats purr at a specific low-frequency vibration between 20 and 140 hertz. Medical research shows that sound vibrations at these exact frequencies work like magic on a cellular level to accelerate tissue regeneration, heal muscle wounds, reduce pain, and drastically increase bone density. Purring is literally their built-in, prehistoric, evolutionary first aid kit. When a cat lies on you and purrs, It is often using you as a convenient, warm heating pad to run its own internal self-repair software. But the most sophisticated, manipulative tool in the cat's entire arsenal is the humble meow. In the wild among themselves, adult cats almost never meow at each other. They communicate through complex pheromone scents, subtle body language, or fierce territorial hissing. Adult cats invented the vocal meow specifically and exclusively to manipulate humans. If you listen closely, a cat's food-soliciting meow perfectly mimics the exact frequency, tone, and acoustic structure of a crying human infant. Your cat isn't just asking for dinner. It is blatantly hacking your evolutionary parental instincts on a deep, subconscious neurological level. Your human brain hears that specific high-pitched frequency, instantly panics, experiences a spike in stress, and forces you to get out of bed to open an expensive can of wet food just to make the baby stop crying. It is pure, brilliant, biological engineering. Has your cat ever brought you a dead mouse, a half-alive bird, or at the very least its own spit-covered fuzzy toy, and laid it right on your pillow or your shoes? Most cat owners melt with affection, saying, "Oh, look how sweet, my little baby brought me a beautiful present." Forget that delusion immediately. Biologists have proven a much harsher, highly insulting truth. A cat never, under any circumstances, considers a human to be its master or leader. In fact, due to your lack of hunting skills, it views you as a giant, clumsy, completely clueless, hairless, mutant cat who, by some absolute miracle of the universe, hasn't starved to death yet. It watches you walk around the house all day, never catching a single bird, never tracking a single mouse. When it brings you half-dead prey, it is not a gift of love. It is a mandatory masterclass. It is trying to teach you how to hunt and kill because it honestly believes you are completely helpless at basic survival, and it feels sorry for you. Let's finally take off the rose-colored, human-centric glasses. We are not the alphas of their pack because cats don't have packs. To them, we are just large, clumsy, two-legged, warmth-emitting servants who provide excellent climate control, scoop out their bathroom waste, and happen to possess the opposable thumbs required to operate a can opener. We share our modern high-tech homes with an obligate carnivore that has retained every single lethal habit, lightning-fast reaction time, and cold-blooded psychological edge of its wild ancestors. Its eyes can see perfectly in near-total darkness. Its whiskers can detect microscopic changes in air currents, and its retractable claws are sharper than surgical scalpels. And if your cute, fluffy little pet suddenly grew to the size of a Siberian tiger or a wild African leopard right now while you are sitting in your room, trust me, you wouldn't survive in that enclosed space for more than 5 minutes. So the next time your cat sits on your chest and stares deep into your soul with that cold, unblinking, hypnotic predator gaze, just remember the true dynamic of your household. You are not the boss. You are just temporarily approved, non-essential domestic staff. And you better not forget to fill the food bowl on time, or things might get complicated.